A little bit, the student feel a little bit embarrassed and uncomfortable would they?
At first, well, I set up barriers to kind of like block them, but after a while, they also
They get
kind
used
of,
to it,
yeah,
huh?
they like the big space. I like the big space. We have a mirrored wall here, so that we can do staging.
I think
we
this
can
is
do
this is
choreography
perfect
too.
for choreography. This is
Yeah.
perfect for a mini recital,
Yes,
like
yes.
a mini masterclass.
Yeah, well, we do mini recitals here. Well, we did them during normal times before COVID, and now that our restrictions are pretty much lifted.
So tell me,
Yeah, we're doing that
right
again.
now in
Yeah.
Singapore at this stage now, because we Hong Kong admire how Singapore was doing because we thought we were ahead, but then in the end, you guys, decided it's endemic, and so everything opened up. At first, we were so worried, oh my God, if you open up, everyone's gonna get sick. But we didn't. It just turn out to be Omicron is just like a flu, sometimes even less than a flu.
Yeah.
And so maybe were we too dramatized about it and over enthusiastic about, oh my God, you kena COVID lah, in
Yeah.
Singapore language lah.
Yeah.
And then so, but none of my friends died.
Yeah.
They all recovered.
I think the deciding factor in our opening up was, well, as you said, Omicron is not lethal.
Luckily, yes.
And luckily,
Not like
yeah,
Delta,
and at the same time, we are like over 90% immunized,
Your
vaccinated.
your
vaccinated,
vaccination
sorry, yes.
rate in Singapore is very impressive.
Yes. And like for our friends who choose not to
Yeah.
get vaccinated, they have made their decisions already.
You have
know?
friends that are still refusing to vaccinate.
Yes.
Are there
more
any
than
penalties in
friends.
Hong Kong?
In Singapore, well, there are no penalties, but I mean, it's a personal decision.
Of course, we have to
yeah.
respect that too. It's like what you put in your body is your choice. And
Yes.
I absolutely think that you have the right to
Yeah.
do so. But
So-
in Hong Kong, if you're
Yeah.
not vaccinated, because we still have to enter with the trace together thing.
Yes.
We're still
yes.
using that. Can
Oh
you imagine?
yeah. We're not using that anymore. But
Yeah,
yes,
I
when
realize
we
that.
were using that, unvaccinated people are not
Are not allowed to enter.
malls.
So this is what we're doing
Yeah.
now. We are doing what you were doing a few months ago. So if you're not triple vaccinated, not the second dose is not enough. You need to have a booster. Otherwise, you can't enter school. You can't enter shopping malls. You can't enter gyms, public spaces.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
you were denied entries or restaurants. You have to take out all the time
Yeah.
or eat in the park.
It's kind of similar in Singapore too.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, for unvaccinated folks. But well, thankfully the restrictions are lifted, and I think like the country collectively we're kind of moving ahead.
I think it's a little bit silly, you know what? Because if they're not vaccinated, they should be more scared than we do.
Sure.
You know why
Yeah.
should we be worried about the unvaccinated people? Because we are protected. They are kind of like not protected.
Yeah.
So they should be more. Why should they be penalized for
Yeah.
not having protections? Like this is my argument. I
Yeah.
think that's why right now you are coming to Singapore. No need to use Trace Together. I asked the officer at the immigration, do I have to open my Trace Together? She said no. So I was very happy.
Yeah.
Even though I was prepared. Because in Hong Kong, I don't think we will still stick to this Live Home Safe app, we call it, for until maybe end of this year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, I tell you, I was so relieved the first few days when the Trace Together restrictions, those barriers were taken down.
Barriers? They put barriers?
Well,
What kind of barriers?
I mean, like entries. They have like a security guard sitting at the entrance
Oh
checking
my
our
goodness!
and scanning.
In Hong Kong, we don't have
Yeah.
that because even though we have to enter by the apps, but you just do it by yourself. There are
Oh.
no security guards in Hong Kong. It's pretty much each to your own. Yeah.
Oh really? I mean, we have a guard at the entrance to make sure that we did scan in. Yeah, so that's how
good
strict
job
they
for
were.
them, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm happy that it's all lifted. Yeah,
It's like Malaysia.
Yeah, well, cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers to that. I'm so glad. I mean, my friend tells me that I come to Singapore at the best time when all the restrictions were lifted, no numbers were limited for dining, and I can go in and eat all my favorite food. And I feel like and also going out, not indoors. I can just go without a mask, and for me, it is like a treat. It's like a guilty pleasure. It shouldn't be, but
Right. At first, it feels like we're doing something sneaky, you know. Yeah.
But now, when I was a couple of days ago, I was walking around doing the cliche. Went to the Merlion Park just to say hi to the Merlion, whom I miss. And there was not many people. All the tourists were not back, especially from China. You used to attract a lot of Chinese tourist group, and there was always a chaos there. So now I was able to take pictures of the Merlion. Almost no one in the picture. It was almost like photoshopped.
Yeah. Enjoy the peace while
while it lasts. It's true.
Right. This is really good stuff. You know?
I know.
Yeah, thank you so
We
much.
can down a whole bottle. I wish I bought another bottle. We're almost half done already.
Yeah, we're gonna have a really fun show.
Yeah.
Right. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm saying
Yeah. Well, did you recognize these glasses?
I did.
Yeah, in the video.
I saw no videos. This was from your show Macbeth.
Yeah. Well,
and I was very impressed that it's made from stainless steel. It's very sturdy.
It's real metal, you know. It's not some like plastic prop. Yeah. I mean, we had many plastic props in the show, but this is real stuff. Yeah. Well,
The knife you used in the show is plastic.
Oh, that was plastic. That was a Halloween toy. Yeah.
How about the blood on it?
The blood was Halloween blood, yeah. So it was in tubes, and then we just kind of smeared them around.
I see. It's easily washed off.
Yes. Very easy.
Did it leave a stain on your hand?
You just have to be careful not to put your hands on things, you know, because I was wearing a white shirt.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, exactly.
Suit.
Yeah.
And you look so good with the mustache. Why did you shave it? I think you look really handsome with it.
Thank you.
Was it real mustache?
It was a real mustache. It was my real facial hair. Yeah, I left it out for like a good 4 months.
It was good.
Thank you. Yeah, because Francis expressed that he would like to watch the show, and he wasn't in Singapore, so I kind of shared the video with him. Right.
I'm very lucky. I had the first taste.
You were pretty much the first person to watch the video who wasn't a cast member, actually.
Oh,
yeah, and still,
I can tell you that, guys, it's very good. So please tune in and watch his show. Going to Hawk's House, right?
Right. Yes, Hawk's House at 25th of June.
For a small price, it's really worth it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, what got you interested in classical singing, in opera?
Interesting question. That's gonna take a whole night. But I'm gonna give you a Reader's Digest first. Okay, we're talking about the year 1987 now. I'm very old, you see. 87, I was still like almost 19 years old. And then I entered university, and I've always loved singing. I mean, karaoke, this Chinese pop, and nothing like classical. I didn't even dream that I would become a singer, let alone classical singer. It was a crazy idea.
So it kind of came later in life.
It came when I was 21. So I had singing lessons pretty late. So many of the young students that I teach, they started pretty young. They're very lucky. Had I started young, I would have gone further.
Absolutely. When I see my students who are like 8 or like 6, and then they come home with a trophy, and I'm like, right?
When did you start?
I started at...
What age were you?
I did my first plays also. That was like a spoken physical theatre play at 18 when I was in Polytechnic.
So it was also pretty late too.
Yes. And I started doing like choir and taking voice lessons around 20, 21.
Me too. Yeah. Oh my goodness, jinx to that. I didn't realize we both have a late start. We were the late boomers.
Absolutely, and it's never too late to start,
No, actually, 21 is a good age for men. I mean, not sure about lady, because our voice is more developed a little bit later. So I entered this Western Australia Academy of Performing Arts, which is next door to Edith Cowan University. I was doing my linguistic degrees at the Edith Cowan. I've always loved singing. And so next door is the academy. I casually asked the lady who taught my subject, is it possible to take one subject there as part of my program? Yes, you may, young man. What would you like to do? Are there classical singing? In fact, we have. And so she just wrote something, just sent me a paper. Why don't you go and audition? And I don't know what to sing. Well, just go. And then I went in and I saw the professor there. So you want to sing? Can you sing? I said, I don't know any songs. She just did the vocalizing. I said, okay, you have a voice, so start to, until next week. I said, okay. That's how I got started. Without any ideas I was going to get into singing in Italian, in French, in German. It was scary, I tell you that. I'm not sure, some of your students got scared when they see the language they were going to sing in.
Well, yeah. When I introduce a song to a student and say that, well, this is going to be in Italian, and they're like,
I know that feeling.
I don't speak Italian.
You see, for me, English is not my first language. I'm not Singaporean where English is like almost like the first language. Chinese is the second language almost. But for me, English is almost. I had to think before I speak. So now I had to even sing in a different language that I don't understand, and I had to. In those days, there was no Google. There was no YouTube, nothing like that. So I had to really go into the library, take out the vinyl records or the tapes of that opera, or then listen to it and look at the libretto, word by word, look at translation. I did it the hard way. You too?
Well, that was how we learned operas,
actually,
right? Especially the rare ones.
It's better. I listened to a lot of different operas then.
Yeah. I like to watch.
I was like a sponge, you know. I absorbed everything, and I finally they offered the subject German, and also Italian. So I studied Italian and German, not French though. French came later, and that sort of helped along with my music course, and then more and more I loved it, and I changed several different teachers until I finally found the teachers that whom me and Christina shared, Ruth Atkinson, and she really opens my eyes about techniques, about how the brain sings, how I should like just relax and don't think too much. Sometimes there's this fear, there's this wanting to become so good, to become wonderful, to impress people, that you're starting to put a lot of tensions, especially around here, your jaw, and then your mind is starting to play tricks at you. I'm sure when you did Macbeth, there was a lot of emotional turmoil going through, because that's a big role. I mean, I must congratulate on. I wouldn't have done it myself.
Thank you so much.
Verdi is not really my cup of tea. I love Verdi, but it's just Verdi doesn't love me.
Well, it was a really big thing, and I have had to work very hard.
You did. I can see the dedication.
Thank you. Well, it was the technique. I had to bring my technique up to scratch. It was
what kind of warm-up and preparation did you do to prepare for this such a difficult role?
Yeah. Well, I see a vocal teacher. Yeah, and so
you even needed a vocal teacher too, as a teacher yourself.
Well, yes. And we kind of like brought it up to to the acting was a challenge. Of course, Macbeth in the theater is a huge acting role.
You cannot turn it into. You are good at doing comic roles, but this is your first attempt at something that's serious.
Well, I mean, it's something that I've always wanted to do. I jokingly say that I like to. I think there are two things that I do well. It's like comedy and like dying stuff. Things to do with killing, dying, getting killed.
I don't know you that well to know that you're good at killing people on stage.
I do have a kind of morbid, I guess, artistry in me. Yeah, so I love things like Macbeth, like Sweeney Todd, which is like a mass murder.
Sweeney Todd,
Yeah, that's something I love
blood,
a lot. Yeah. So thematically, the opera and the play Macbeth is something that I've loved, and I've always wanted to do for a really long time. Yeah, and then when we were all locked down, right, and then all our hopes and dreams for 2020 were just disappeared. Right.
But then again, I on hindsight, when I think about it, it also gave me a chance to take stock and also to rethink. To recalibrate myself, to reinvent myself. Like during the lockdown time, I was able to look at a lot of different art songs, rework them, and also look at different vocal exercises book. And I also had Zoom session with my teacher in Australia, and we talked about the voice. So I just wanted to recalibrate my voice to use this time, which I'm not performing, to further explore the art, because you cannot stop exploring.
Yes. The training never
Stops.
You know?
I mean, and I revisit some of the old songs which I used to find difficult to sing, and it was always a joy to revisit them and to find that they're no longer as they're still difficult, okay?
Yeah.
But they're not as difficult, and I find new joy in singing them. What I thought was boring before, and actually find they're no longer boring anymore. I don't know whether it's me getting more boring or it's just me opening up my mind.
Yeah,
you know.
I
what
think we've
now.
just kind of, as we mature more, we can understand the nuance of different. Pieces
so I always
Yeah.
say to my students, you may not like the song now, but learn it anyway, because years later, when you look at it, you actually will thank me the day I actually show you this song. Even just a simple song like Caro Romeo Band. I mean, many people just shun it. Oh, you're not gonna sing that in a concert. I said, to sing Caro Romeo Band well takes skills.
It's actually a surprisingly difficult
It's
song.
a deceptively difficult song to sing.
Yes.
You have no right to talk about a song like that until you are a real master of your art. Even if you are a master of your craft, you still shouldn't talk like that. Being humble and open to learning, I think is very important for any opera singers. Once you become very sachan, very like I'm the best in the world, I'm the diva now, and then you stopped learning, your mind's closed, and then you're no longer, you're hard to work with.
Absolutely. I see nothing
stuck,
I see nothing wrong with performing Caro Romeo Band in the recital.
Oh no, I love it.
If anything,
I would do it.
If anything, shall we sing Caro Romeo Band together?